Hello, folks. Once again, just my opinion, coming from high above my garage in my man cave, Aiken, South Carolina. My name is Jim Voss, your host for this lunacy for about the next 20 minutes. I had a call, not a call, it was someone left a message and said I was way too serious, that I took too many things to heart. The insults of DC, the shenanigans that are going on day and night. Said I was taking them too deeply. Okay, so we're going to lighten up this time on the air. See if we can't get a few chuckles in here amongst a lot of tears. This is just a fact. We talked about in the last podcast, I think that was 11. We talked about the last podcast and we talked about $1 trillion. I can't imagine a million in one place, or a billion, but much less a trillion. So I did some research. If you glued $1 trillion in ones, they would stretch from the earth to almost the sun. Think about that. And that's $1 trillion. If you had a jet aircraft that would fly the speed of sound 767 miles an hour, and you had this giant ass roll on the back of it with dollar bills on it, if that pilot could fly 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, no stopping, no nothing, in order to reel out $1 trillion in ones at 767 miles per hour, it would take him 14 years to get $1 trillion strung out. And like I said in the last podcast, why should a congressman or senator give a rat's furry ass? One way or the other. Whoa, where'd that flash come from? Okay. Did you see the light? We're 30 trillion in the hole. So that plane would have to fly 420 years nonstop. 420 years non-stop to satisfy just the amount that we owe in the deficit. I heard a preacher one time talk about eternity, and he said, if a bird were to pick up 1 grain of sand in Myrtle Beach and carry it to a beach in California, and that's all the beaches on the east and west coast, and then after he had moved everything from the east to the west, he would move it back grain by grain from the west back to the east. That's a good idea of eternity. You know, I'm having to adopt 2 of my grandchildren. So after raising 6 kids, now I have 7 and 8 coming up. And I wonder what they're going to have to pay. I wonder what their life's going to be like if the coup takes effect and socialism is in place. What will they lose? It's scary. Okay, let's see. Let's see. We did that. We did that. We did that. Oh, yeah. Today they came out with another poll. I don't believe that Biden, or Krusty the Clown as I call him, I don't believe his approval rating could get much lower than it already is. Right now, only one third, 33% of the American population believe that he's taking the nation in the right direction. Now, let's consider who those 33 might be. Of course, probably 1 or 2% out there in Hollywood would be, for Biden. But I think the rest of them are somewhere being housed for the criminally insane. But I believe they're dangerously ignorant, and we should stay away from them. Don't have anything else to do with them. Good news, newsflash. Outside of 3 of the Supreme Court justices' homes, demonstrators were arrested. About 20 of them, and originally the DA was going to go for criminal mischief and trespassing and blah 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 blah. He was going to stack charges on them, as we used to say in police work. But now I believe that DA has been awakened by woke. I like that. Woke up. And I believe the charges are down to 2 weeks without pizza and a slap on the wrist. And that's about where that's going to go. This is supposed to be funny, so you're supposed to be chuckling at them because they're bullshit. I'm really, 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 really proud of this one. The former Clinton attorney that is really, he's really on trial right now for lying to Congress. Now, you think about all the people that are in the Congress that lie like a cheap-ass rug every day. They got a 20-year penalty for lying to Congress. A liar lying to a pack of liars can get 20 years in a federal posh pen somewhere playing racquetball and squash and golf. But no dessert. Not for the first week. No dessert. No cookies. No nothing. No, it's really hardcore. Instead of breaking big rocks into little rocks that you and I would do, they break big quiche down into sizable quiche that you can eat. And I believe that instead of 20 years, I believe that a call will come from the Clinton Foundation by Madame Lardass herself. Omar the tent maker be making those pantsuits. Ass gets any bigger, she's going to have 2 cracks for it. Shops at the W section for whammo. I believe that after the Clintons call and they say, look, we got a lot of dead bodies buried out here on the property, that DA will probably drop it down to an hour of community service and, of course, the very stern and strict no pizza for 2 weeks. Another news flash, the Democrats, oh my God, they can't get away from all of the negative publicity, the negative numbers, the economy, the price of gas, the price of homes now, everything that's just going up, the highest inflation since World War II. I remember looking at houses at 21% under Jimmy Carter, and I thought to myself, oh, hell, they can't get any worse than this. But it's going to. It's going to. Here in Carolina, my brother, I talked to him last night, they're paying $4.80 down in Florida for gas, and we're stuck around $4.20. But that's going to go up because of podcast 8 or 9. I tell you that we're short 2.3 trillion tons of fertilizer that Russia's not going to give us because we're screwing with helping out Ukraine. So we're going to have some short planting or under planting or no planting this year or so. And of course, the two major crops that are going to hurt us when it comes to the production of food and the production of those products that go into other products is going to be cotton and corn. Well, corn's going to be in fuel. That will drive fuel even higher. Cotton touches us every day of our lives, so most of our manufactured goods from cotton will also. Those two rape the soil worse than any other product that the farmer's trying to generate. Hell, I feel like Biden sometimes trying to talk. So those are going to go up, but the Democrats have got to do something. So what they've decided to do is their spokesman for the Biden administration would now be the bookman Waldo. And so we'll be looking for him to put out the statements now. And Waldo, when he was interviewed, simply stated that if you find him and they find Biden's mind, then they'll issue a sound statement with a very firm maybe. They're also going to change the DNC name from the Democratic National Convention, or whichever they call it, or the club, I don't know, to Dongs and Coochie. And they think that those two are the most familiar to their constituents, is the Dongers and the Coochiers. And therefore they figure they can relate better. And of course, Headboard Harris is going to be their morale officer. You remember her. She's our vice that tends to like to put things on the layaway plan to get that new Mercedes. If you can't afford it right away, just put it on the layaway plan, then you get a new Mercedes. She also was nominated and accepted an award from the IACC, which I thought was very impressive. And she has been given two stellar props, I guess you'd call it, for this award that come with the award. Now, the IACC is the International Association of Clown Colleges, and I think she got in because of her cackling laughter. She is allowed to drive the clown car into the main big circle under the big tent, the center ring, and her big old red shoes will come from Gucci. I think those were two of the really highest parts of the award. And so anyhow, I'm sure she'll carry that with a lot of dignity and pride, and she'll be the new standard bearer for the IACC. I've had to change the names of some folks because in my being chastised, I'm not supposed to use certain people's names. The philanthropist, BG, will now be known, let's see, I wrote it down, he will be known as William the Entrance instead of Bill Gates. And then Dr. Fauci, it will be known as Little Lord Fauci-Roy. There'll be Crying Chuck Stuper instead of Schumer. Nancy Pelosi instead of Pelosi. And the head of transportation, the openly lighting the loafers, Buttigieg, will be now known as Dick Buttigieg. And of course, we don't have to have a nickname for Trump because they don't care how mean you are to Trump or what you can say Trump and you can say anything bad about Trump you want to. But in one of my podcasts, I think it was 10, it was censorship or are you trying to protect the community? Okay, if I'm going to plot against the president or plot against the United States, then I would call it making it safe for the community. But when you tell me that there's a certain person or a certain organization that sounds like an owl at nighttime, that I can't use that name, then we go from protecting the community to censorship. And that's something conservatives need to learn how to live with, because we are being censored. We are being restricted, just like the 24th page of Mein Kampf by Adolf Hitler and the CRT, the training that we were going to give our kids before the outraged parents became domestic terrorists. You believe now that the FBI is handling those cases and the Department of Justice for a pissed off parent. I don't know where the hell the flashes of light are coming from, but they're scaring me. I think it's this camera. So we're going to do the best we can and finish up. I did a podcast called CRT in 1933. And if you read Mein Kampf and you see the way it's worded about a worn out government that has failed you at every turn and that has made profit off of the back of the average person, that is exactly what is being taught in CRT. It is to help the children pick out the inferior children and to report them to the powers that be within the school as being unworthy citizens. And those unworthy citizens, that's us conservatives, will be restricted and will be confined and will have the DOJ looking into whether or not we want our children to be taught this bullshit. Okay, that's as serious as I'm going to be. The last thing that I have always wondered where it was located. They just released the final autopsy on Rock Hudson. And lo and behold, they have found Michael Jackson's other glove. That's it. I hope that was lighter for you. I hope you enjoyed it and you got a few chuckles out of it. Stay whatever you are, black, white, orange, green, polka dotted, Republican, Democrat, idiot, loon, moron. Just stay what you are. Be proud of what you are. And let's keep waiting for that next fourth stimulus check. I love that stuff. They're giving me some of that free money. I'm going to go ahead and apply for that grant. Let me tell you what. If Hookers for Jesus can get $500,000, I believe Jimbo. I like hookers. I like the girls that dance on the pole. I believe I can find a reason for the federal government to give me at least $1 million. I don't know what we'd call it, I have no idea. But I think if it's sexual, you can get the money, because we gave $250,000, a little more than $250,000, to the hookers in Afghanistan to teach them sex education, and $150,000 for someone to read to your kids while you go to the laundromat. Holy shit. Let's just give away all of the money that we possibly can, and then Let those lying, thieving bastards that we have in Congress come down to see their constituents and say, oh, God, we got a shortfall on money. We're going to have to invest in America. And you know what that means? Invest in America means higher taxes. Boy, Biden's going to kill our ass on taxes. I want to say something to the people who have never voted because you think that your vote doesn't count. And for those people, like my brother who told me, there's not a damn thing you can do, Jim, except Jimmy, he calls me Jimmy, except bitch, piss, and moan about it. Well, I'm going to bitch, piss, and moan about it. But I want you to look me right in the eye. If you sit your worthless, common, low-rent ass at home on the 2022 election, somebody just should put a boot so far up your ass you could smell the polish on it. I'm telling you, folks, I don't care if you got to dig up grandma and grandpa. You get their ass to the polls. And if you're in Chicago, vote and vote often. But folks, if we don't take it back in 2022, if we don't put some kind of chokehold on Krusty the Clown, we're doomed. If they get these 2.5 million new illegal aliens to vote, we're screwed. Screwed. Real deep, no lube. Screwed. Hey, far above my garage, Jim Voss. This is just my opinion. Oh, never politically correct, but darling, always correct. Cause why? I look it up. If you can read, jump on in there. It's all printed. All you gotta do is take the time to look it up, and you'll find it. I listened last night to the guy that I had just about plagiarized to death. Robert Kennedy Jr. wrote that book about William the Entrance and Little Lord Fauntleroy. Man. Just what we said. It's never been about health. It's always been about control. Just my opinion. Hey, we got some followers now. We got some subscribers. We are moving up. Beans don't burn on the grill. Come on back. I'll have another one out probably this weekend. Okay? We're still going to go out bowling. We're still going to have that beer. I love you. I mean it. You know who I'm talking to, right? Yes, just you. Take a deep breath. Have a good enema, good bowel movement. Have a toddy. Throw some at the television. Cold Steel Powell that I used to work for, he said, and this too shall pass. Let's hope he's right. I hope he rests well. Have a good evening. Take care. There's that button. All right. Bye, baby.